So yeah, a bit of a comedy of errors with this one. I totally unsuspected hollow wall. I mean, sometimes with that you get a, that sort of extension, but that's an original wall. It wasn't a side return. So I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, floating shelf was never going to happen on that wall, so we've got to put it on brackets. The only positive we can take away from it really is that it gives me a chance to finish this, get a nice oil finish on it in the workshop here, which I'll do now rather than trying to do this on site, which is always a bit fraught. So I can do that, get a couple of good coats on this, and then when it comes to fit it, we just need scribing to the wall. Another quick light through there. Then we can get some oil on that.
I'm using Osmo top oil with a satin finish, working this into the wood with a soft cloth and doing my usual leaning back trick to cover both faces before setting it to one side to dry. Now, after a bit of back and forth with the client, they didn't like any of the metal, stainless steel or nickel brackets that I'd found. Clearly, I'm never going to make it as anybody's personal shopper. So I made a quick sort of sample bracket up in oak like this, and fortunately they absolutely loved it. So this was the direction that they decided to go in.
So this is our sort of prototype oak shelf bracket. I'm making this out of some old floorboard that a friend of mine gave me. He rang me one day and said, "Oh, Pete, do you want some oak floorboards?" So yeah, right. How much is it? Oh, hard to say. Okay, when do you need? I could do with getting rid of it today. He said, okay. Anyway, belted over there in the van, and it's oak flooring, that scraps and leftovers that somebody had that he'd found in somebody's basement, and they just wanted to clear it out. And there's some quite nice boards in there actually. A lot of them have got splits and shakes in, but perfect for this kind of thing. It's what I use for cutting my little wooden wedges out of. But anyway, this is the prototype sample of the oak bracket that I'm making for the shelf. It's very simple, very straightforward. The slimmer piece supports the shelf itself, and the thicker piece gets fixed to the wall. It'll be drilled through in a couple of places to the wall, and I've had my friend Jonathan, the precision engineer, he's very generously made me some little metal brackets, and I'm going to fix these to the wall, route a groove in here for this to fit into, so that can get fixed to the wall, and then the bracket itself will be secured with a couple of long screws through there and then screwed through here. Shelf gets screwed through the top section, and it'll all work perfectly probably. Obviously I'll drill and plug the front face to minimise so you don't see sort of screw heads poking out. I've got some old oak floorboards. I've ripped that down to the sort of thickness that we want, and we'll start making these shapes now.
Using the sample bracket as a template, I'm marking out the workpiece, flipping the bracket over to make the best use of the oak I have to hand. And I'm making all these cuts with the track saw, lining everything up carefully and using offcuts to support the rail around these small pieces. I've cut the top section of the brackets slightly long so that I can simply mark them up, then trim them back on the chop saw, always checking for square of course.